Hi, yes, my name's Max Hissick, and for my individual presentation, I chose the topic reproduction and pregnancy/birth, and I'm going to be teaching it to middle schoolers who are in grades 8 to 5. And the way I set up my individual presentation is I would lecture to the middle schoolers through PowerPoint and then do an activity. So now I'm just going to start my presentation on reproduction, pregnancy, and birth. So first, reproduction, how it works. Human reproduction is any form of sexual reproduction resulting in human fertilization, usually involves sexual intercourse between a man and a woman. During sexual intercourse, the interaction between male and female reproductive systems results in fertilization of the woman's ovum by the man's sperm. Specialized cells, reproductive cells, are called gametes and are created in a process called meiosis. Reproduction, how it works, continued. Normal cells contain 46 chromosomes and have 23 pairs. Gamete cells only contain 23 chromosomes. Then these two cells merge into one zygomatic cell. That genetic information recombination occurs, and then the new zygomatic contains 23 chromosomes from each parent, giving them 23 pairs and their makeup. Reproduction is also important for the human race. There is a lot of anatomy that goes into reproduction and is very important to learn. However, there is another reason to learn about human reproduction, and that is it is essential for the human species to continue their way of life, and it also reproduction is important if you want to leave behind a legacy. Pregnancy, conception. About 2 weeks from the first day of your last period, ovulation occurs. Once the sperm has penetrated the egg shuts down and is now emitting no more sperm at the zygomatic stage and is half of their genetic makeup. And over the next 5 days, the new life travels down the fallopian tube and then implants in the lining of the uterus. So pregnancy, the first trimester is weeks 1 to 14. At week 4, positive pregnancy test. At week 5, the brain, spinal cord, and heart develop. At week 6, the neural tube will become the spine closes, and now the heart is pumping blood. At week 7, the nostrils and eye lenses form. At week 8, the brainwave activity begins, and the baby's arms and legs have grown longer. At week 9, the elbows and toes can be seen and all the internal organs are forming. At week 10, breathing movements begin, but the baby still gets oxygen through the umbilical cord. At week 11, facial features develop, and at weeks 12 through 14, the baby makes its own blood cells, can form a fist, and develop tooth buds. The nose and lips are also completely developed. Pregnancy, the second trimester, weeks 15 to 28. Weeks 15 to 28, the baby will stick its thumb and kick. Now will suck its thumb and kick, and now also has fine hair, and the intestinal tract is functioning. Weeks 19 to 21, the baby can hear someone singing and talking, and can also feel pain. Fingertips are almost fully grown, and someone can feel the baby move. Weeks 22 to 25, the baby has eyelashes and fingernails and is very active. The bone marrow is making blood cells, and the lungs are developing, but do not make sufficient, which is necessary for the baby to breathe outside the womb. And at weeks 26 to 28, the baby's hearing and sight are completely developed, and also the baby can create tears. Pregnancy, continue, the third trimester, weeks 29 to 40. Weeks 29 to 40, the rhythmic breathing and body temperature are controlled by the brain. The lungs are capable of breathing air, although medical medical help may be needed. Weeks 32 to 34, the baby has eyes that are open during times and closed during sleep. Almost all babies at this stage will survive. Weeks 35 to 37, the baby weighs about 5.5 pounds and muscles and bones have fully developed. And then weeks 38 to 40, the baby could be born at any time now. At the time of birth, a baby has more than 70% of reflex behaviors, which are automatic behaviors for necessary survival. And pregnancy, some effects on the body. Women should gain about 25 to 35 pounds during pregnancy. They should increase their calories, and they might experience morning sickness, fatigue, mood changes, high blood pressure, and etc. So now birth. Birth, first stage of labor. Contractions help the cervix to thin and begin to open, which is called dilation and efficientment. As the cervix dilates, the healthcare providers will check the opening in centimeters. 1 centimeter is a little less than half an inch. The cervix needs to be about 10 inches wide to give birth. The second stage of labor, the baby moves through the birth canal. The cervix is completely dilated and end with the birth of the baby, and contractions push the baby down the birth canal, and the mother may feel intense pressure when pushing. The third stage, after birth, after the birth of the baby, the uterus continues to contract to push out the placenta. The placenta usually delivers about 5 to 15 minutes after the baby arrives. And then birth, stage 4, recovery for the body after the work it has just done, and nurse the baby as soon as possible. So now that was my lecture. So now for my activity, I'm going to be doing bingo. So after the lecture, I will write the terms up on the board and give the students a couple minutes to make their own bingo card. So the words for bingo are meiosis, 23, 1 to 14, 15 to 28, 29 to 40, 25 to 35, 10, 5 to 15, second, as quickly as possible, 38 to 40, 4, 7, 11, and 5.5. And here is an example of a bingo card. Of course, the students could put the terms wherever they want. This is just an example that I created. And then after all the students create their bingo card, the teacher will read the questions and then the students will mark them off, and the first one to get bingo, of course, wins. And then my questions for bingo are cell specialized reproductive cells are called gametes, are created in a process called blank. Answer meiosis. Gamete cells only contain how many chromosomes? Answer 23. The number of weeks in the first trimester? Answer 1 to 14. Number of weeks in the second trimester? Answer 15 to 28. The number of weeks in the third trimester? Answer 29 to 40. Women gain about how much weight during pregnancy? Answer 25 to 35. How many inches does the cervix need to be dilated in order to give birth? Answer 10. The placenta usually delivers about how many minutes after birth? Answer 5 to 15. In what stage of birth does the baby move down the birth canal? Answer second. When should the mother breastfeed the baby? Answer as quickly as possible. When can the baby be born? Answer 38 to 40. In what weeks does the brain, spinal cord, and heart develop? Answer 4. In what weeks do the nostrils and eye lenses start to form? Answer 7. In what weeks do facial features develop? Answer 11. And how much How how many how many should how much weight should the baby be in weeks 35 to 37? Answer is 5.5. Those were the resources that I used, and that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening to my presentation on reproduction, pregnancy, and birth.